And we are live. Hey guys, this is Brad and Kyla here with Dallas Geek. Mike is unavailable today. He had to go back to work. Crazy. If you guys have already been able to guess based on other context clues, you can already figure out why he's back at work. Otherwise, we'll let you keep guessing. But until then, Kyla, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Just doing my thing, doing the quarantine. Yep.
Nice. Well, for those of you watching us, thank you for joining us so late in the afternoon. We do appreciate it. We figured that we'd come to you with a little end of Friday fun to be able to get you into the weekend. And yeah, so if you have not already, please do not forget to like and follow us over on Facebook and like and subscribe over on YouTube. And now that I think we're about done with the necessary shilling, let's go ahead and jump into it. So if you haven't already figured out, today's topic is options to help stay sane during the isolation. And we are choosing to do that with binge recommendations.
So much binging.
Oh my gosh.
So much binging.
So much. But yeah, no, we have some fun stuff for shows, movies, games, even books for the bookworms out there. And yeah, so hey guys, looks like we got a few people. Cody's on over at Facebook, so is Heather.
Hey Cody.
And
hey Heather.
Carrie, which I believe you would know.
Oh, that's my mother. Hi Mom.
Hello. So yeah, binge recommendations. Let's go ahead and start with streaming services, and just start with the elephant in the room, Disney Plus.
I mean, of course, Disney kind of owns everything, right? Are we allowed to say that?
I mean, it's either them or Google at this point, and I don't really feel like trying to argue that one, because I think they're going to figure that out eventually. So
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But yeah, Kyla, what are your recommendations over on Disney Plus to get you through isolation?
So, right before all this happened, Mike and I started watching one of my new favorite shows on Disney Plus, which was Star vs. the Forces of Evil. It's like Powerpuff Girls and Gravity Falls came together and exploded. It's pretty fantastic.
That is a very special kind of description there.
It is, because like it's the goofiness of the Powerpuff Girls with reoccurring villains, but an overarching story like Gravity Falls with a sprinkle of weirdness. Like I don't know what to tell you.
Okay.
Like,
okay. Fair.
If you need a classic, DuckTales would definitely be what I would recommend. They recently rebooted it with like David Tennant playing Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, I've seen a bit of the first season. I have not gotten a chance to dive too deep into it, but it looks amazing and the humor is fantastic.
The humor is great. Like, I bawled at the end of season 2. Like, it's a kid's show, and I was not okay. Like, so I mean, and season 3 just started airing. It's on, hasn't hit Disney Plus yet, but it's just started like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So, and then, speaking of Gravity Falls, it's also on Disney Plus and on Hulu. And so I would definitely recommend picking that one up if you want something on the weird side, and it's only 2 seasons. So bingeable, but you're going to want to rewatch it and see if you can catch everything again.
Yeah. And then, of course, the absolute given for Disney Plus, you have The Mandalorian. So if you're a Star Wars fan, yes. It's a must. If you haven't seen Star Wars before, but you like sci-fi or honestly, even you want a different twist on like an old spaghetti western, this kind of has that for you. I mean, you don't really need context for the rest of the Star Wars universe to appreciate The Mandalorian, but it does help. So
yeah, no, I didn't even think about the fact that The Mandalorian is definitely a spaghetti western with a sci-fi twist.
Yeah.
Holy crap! Like,
no, it is. honestly, it's fantastic, and as a lifelong Star Wars fan, it is... Every time a rumor popped up about live-action Star Wars shows and, you know, the possibility of, well, what about this? What about this? Oh, this would be a great idea. This feels like exactly what we had always hoped it could have been.
Yes.
And honestly, for me, does the one thing that the new movies didn't exactly. I'm not talking about the trilogy specifically. I'm talking all of them. It has understood the spirit of Star Wars, and that special little something about it that was what made it so unique of a story before. It has that. You know, it's not just the aesthetic trappings of Star Wars to, you know, give you, well, yeah, you have the spaceships and you got the aliens, you got this and this. Yes, but it's more, and that. If you are a Star Wars fan, you'll feel it pretty immediately.
I think that more you're looking for is Baby Yoda, though. Let's be honest here.
And I
took the internet by storm for even those who didn't even see the show. Like...
Yeah, and I swear, if somehow Jon Favreau or one of his minions ever sees this, don't at me. Yes, I understand. We both understand. He's not actually Baby Yoda. But
yes.
What the heck else are you going to call it? I'm going with the same default argument that the rest of the internet has. Would you prefer us to be using the term baby of the same species of Yoda, but we don't know who what that species is called, so it's just baby that thing? No, it's Baby Yoda. We love it, and it's amazing. Go with it.
Mike always is like, no, just call it the child. I'm like, oh, sure, I'm going to say I love the child. Excuse me here, while that implicates so many weird and wrong things. But, you know, I'm going to go with Baby Yoda.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. And then, of course, you know, for longtime Disney fans, you have so much of the rest of Disney's library. Yes, we have... gargoyles. Yes, gargoyles.
Yes.
You have most of the animated classics for the movies. You have most of the animated shows that you look back on and love. Darkwing Duck. I want to say Tailspin is on there, but I need to double check that one. But
I haven't looked.
I do know Darkwing Duck is there because I've already gone through that one, and it's, you know, just as great as it always was.
I mean, it also has like you said, like the Disney classic films.
Yep.
Has some of the newer ones like Frozen 2, Onward.
Yep.
If you need a movie, that is. But
oh yes,
it also has
Mondo, Boy Meets World.
OG X-Men on it.
Oh yes, which is awesome.
Just saying.
The 90s X-Men, fantastic stuff. And yeah, Mondo does have a good point. Boy Meets World, fantastic. Especially now, it still works. Chip and Dale, Timon and Pumbaa, Clone Wars. I mean, we have so many that we could be tossing out there. It's honestly crazy. Yes, we do realize that Disney did not come out with the full library yet, that they're still rolling it out piece by piece, and they don't have nearly as much of Fox's library there because, you know, Disney's family friendly, and they're still figuring out how that's going to work with most of what Fox put out. But, I mean, it's coming, so, you know.
Pretty
But yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot to be able to take in from that. Not a lot of new content exactly, but there's still just a lot. So yeah.
I mean, for some people, like my students at school, right before we had a Pi Day celebration, I was like, hey, pick whatever series you want to watch on Disney Plus, and they were like, can we watch something older? And like one class wanted to watch Boy Meets World, and one class wanted to like rewatch Phineas and Ferb with me. So I was like, yes, this is good.
Although
this is good, so the new generation can get exposure to the things they missed.
Although
so,
I am going to be honest,
just saying.
While I know how old those are, to hear kids call those older options, that hurts a bit.
I know.
That does hurt.
Yeah. It made me feel old, but what can you do?
Yeah.
At least they appreciate the classics.
That's fair. And then, after we get past the Disney-specific recommendations, we do have your anime options over at Funimation.
Yes.
Even if you do not have a subscription to Funimation's streaming service, as cheap as it is, they do have free-to-watch options as long as you're willing to sit through commercials.
Yes.
Which is, honestly, I'm okay with that, since you have all of My Hero Academia dubbed up until, what is it, 2/3 the way through the most recent season. So, I mean, that's really not bad, especially if you are somebody that hasn't already seen it. You can jump into it and get really dang far, and that'll take a minute.
I mean, in short, if you like superheroes, you're gonna like My Hero. I mean,
and I mean,
there's not really.
And they do have the start of several other series, but a lot of the rest of them they do cut off pretty quickly behind the paywall, which, I mean, I know going through and trying to add on to streaming services that you're already buying every month, and that just keeps adding up. But in all fairness to Funimation, they are, I believe, only like $5 a month. So
it's not bad.
I'm kind of okay with that. But I know that's not necessarily for everybody. So if you just want to try it out, they do have some great stuff on there to check out, and I'd recommend it. So
absolutely.
But to one of the behemoths on our list of recommendations, Netflix. So if you're somebody that's been keeping up with Netflix, a lot of what we say may not resonate to you because you've already seen it, but for everybody else that's looking for something fun, do we got something? Kyla?
Yeah, and so, like, my first recommendation I immediately thought of was Riverdale, because 2 days ago I got the notification that Season 4 was added, so your girl has to figure out why everything went crazy at the end of Season 3, and I'm starting that tomorrow, without question, and binging the entire thing in a 2-day span, so it's happening.
Nice. Very nice.
It's based off the Archie comics, if you don't know anything about Riverdale, and it just kind of, it still has like a 1950s feel, but it takes place in modern times, because they still have smartphones and stuff, so...
Now, in all fairness, since this is a CW series based on the Archie comics, that's a very loose interpretation.
Loosely based on.
But so is most everything that the CW does that's from another medium, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's worked for them for how long now?
Well, long enough. Like,
I mean, just how many of their series have they adapted from either older series or other mediums, and they continue to do it because it just works? I mean, clearly they figured something out.
I mean, we can talk about Supernatural and how it's just any sort of lore they can get their hands on.
Yeah. I mean, heck, you want to talk about something that ran a little bit fast and loose with lore interpretation, Smallville. I mean, that was close, but really definitely very loosely interpreted in certain places.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it works, you know, it works. They've been successful for, what, 2 decades now, doing stuff like this, or 2.5?
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
The entirety of my life, so yeah.
I can't argue with them. But,
so
what other shows do we have on Netflix?
So, me personally, I also threw out there Stranger Things, if you also want something on the sci-fi side. I think I know you've seen it. Mike is, to say obsessed is an understatement. But I think that new season is supposed to, as of right now, dropping this fall / winter. So,
yeah.
That's a thing.
Absolutely. And then, of course, we have one of my favorites right now, and I've already gone through twice, and am hopefully going to be starting round 3 with it, The Witcher, because
yes, Mike and I haven't started it yet. It's on my list of things to watch.
I mean, shame on you, but yes.
I know. I feel terrible. I was in my friend's wedding back in February, and when everyone was leaving, the song that was playing was "Toss a Coin to Your Witcher." So I mean, like, I feel terrible that like I could appreciate the song, but I couldn't like appreciate the song. So that's on me.
That's fine.
But it's on my list of things to watch.
Well, that's fine enough, but you guys gotta get on that. I mean, you're slacking here.
I mean, it's not like I don't have time or anything.
I mean, you know, if you just tell Mike that you guys are watching it, you know he'll just say, okay, fine. So, I mean, there's really no argument on that one.
I mean, you're not wrong there. Like, so.
Oh, yes, Mondo. Yeah, that was actually going to be my next one. Umbrella Academy. That is fantastic. And
I've watched like a few episodes and I need to...
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Yes, there's some severe cheesiness to a bit of it. And if you're going to try to find plot holes for the first season, you'll find them. But that's not the point. The point is, it's amazing. It's just really fun storytelling. The chemistry between the actors is actually fantastic. And you specifically will. You say you haven't seen it yet?
I've seen like one episode.
So
just
I
need to.
Klaus. Just Klaus.
Cats?
Klaus.
Oh, Klaus.
Yeah,
Yes,
Klaus.
I've seen the memes from him, and like I just want to be friends with him from what I've seen. So.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, it also scares me.
No, as the show progresses, you specifically will like him more. Like I trust.
Probably sounds about right.
Trust me.
Knowing my aesthetic and what I've seen of like just that character, probably you're not probably in the wrong ballpark there. So.
Yeah, but you know the craziest part. You know who the creator of the series is, the comic book series is, right?
It's Gerard Way, right?
Yep. And why?
Excuse me, it's like my little emo heart just gets like super excited and getting it just like.
and for the normies that are watching us, why should they know who Gerard Way is?
It's the lead singer from My Chemical Romance. Like, he is the leader of the Black Parade. What are you doing with your life? Like,
just saying. Yeah, no, it's really, really funny to me that somebody that has become such a successful rock star actually started off wanting to make comic books, and now has actually been successful in both, just because.
But you would be surprised, like, the number of people who are, like, super into rock, but also into, like, the nerdiness of comic books.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. But it works so well at the same time.
But then, of course, we do have one that you and I have just yesterday went through at length on The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Oh my gosh.
And for those of you who liked the Sabrina series back from the 90s, early 2000s, this is not that. This is not even close to that.
It is not that.
But it is very well done. Honestly, I actually really appreciate the special effects for the creatures and the demons and all the weird... just
everything.
Yeah. Like it's fantastic.
So yeah, they're so well done that like it's fake, but it kind of has that esque of like, I'm not sure how they do it. I haven't done that research. That's more like your Mike's department on that. Yeah. But it kind of had the same feel of like how Jurassic Park was done, where there was like a mix of media to make it seem believable.
Yeah.
But I can't confirm that.
Well, they
like some of those.
They did use a lot of practical effects, which helps a lot with how real everything feels.
But like it's the storyline's really good. It's definitely on the darker side, as a heads up, so it doesn't like frighten you when they talk about literal Satan.
Yes. No. Once again, if you're expecting the Melissa Joan Hart Sabrina, this is not that. This is not the bright and bubbly Sabrina. This is very dark, very like, you want witches, you got witches. It's fantastic though.
Like, one of the first interactions between Hilda and Zelda, my jaw was on the floor. I don't want to spoil it, because, like, in case someone actually wants to go watch it.
Yes.
But, like, the very first interaction you see, and, like, where she says, like, well, it's my birth-given right to do this to you, sister. I was like, because I think I think you know what I'm talking about now, but, like, that was just like...
Yeah, no, it's...
What?
Oh. No, it's...
But it's fantastic, really good,
yeah, all
edge
3
of your
seasons,
seat, like...
Yeah, just go watch it if that's your thing. Definitely watch it.
Yes, and hit me up because, like, we can talk about theories, because I have a big theory on what the end of Season 3 said,
yeah.
So find me, come talk to me, like, we can nerd out together.
Yeah, and then, of course, since we did talk about it a minute ago, the CW, all of the DC shows that the CW has put out, except for Smallville, they have it, and yeah, I mean, if you like them, awesome. If you don't, cool. You don't have to watch them. There's literally a ton of other things on there to see, but it is a great place to just binge and get caught up through everything.
Yes, except when Netflix asks you, are you still watching? Yes, I'm still watching. There's a quarantine outside. Like, there's a pandemic going on. I'm still here.
Oh, yeah. But I think we'd be remiss if we were talking about Netflix and didn't talk about Tiger King. I know you haven't seen it. You've had a bit of hesitation for it. I get it. But basically, if you have ever, like, if you're interested in watching a proper train wreck, or if you've ever been interested in psychology and want to understand what an abnormal brain is like, literally everybody involved in this show is a perfect example of just everything abnormal that can possibly happen to the human mind. It is strange. There's no, like, you, every time you watch an episode and you think there's no way it can get any weirder, any crazier, the next minute you're left going, well, that was a thing. I'm not even sure what it was that I saw, but wow, okay.
You know, I think, like, the only other thing that, like, I've seen jokes of, because people don't realize this, or they might not realize this, that, like, Joe Exotic actually ran for, like, a high political position in the state of Oklahoma, and, like, as a legitimate candidate.
Well, before that, he ran for president.
Yeah.
I mean, you can thank John Oliver and Last Week Tonight over on HBO for making more than a small percentage of America even aware that that was a thing. But yeah, no, he ran for president. Not even kidding. And he's even weirder than he's seemed in his campaign ads.
And I believe it was also he ran for, like, governor of Oklahoma.
Yep.
Like,
and I mean, it's not exactly a spoiler since it's literally in every piece of marketing for it, but he is currently in prison for a attempted, what was it?
Attempted hitman?
Yeah, like attempted
like
solicitation of murder, or whatever the exact term of that was again, but
just,
yeah, it's
one of those things that you hear his life and you're like, who are you? And how did you get here? Because, like, you ran for president, you ran for governor of Oklahoma, you're in prison for attempting to solicit a hitman on, was it, like, competition of his?
Yep.
Or
yep.
Some, like,
Carol
and then, like, you
Baskin.
raise big cats. Like,
and
who are you?
And if that's not enough for all the community fans out there, Joel McHale actually hosts the after show that they added one more episode for him to come in and interview most of the people that were involved in the documentary, just to be able to get their follow-up thoughts on everything. And
you said that episode was recently uploaded, right?
Yeah, and it was very, very interesting.
So if you already watched the series, you can go back and watch that episode if you haven't seen it. So
yeah. And then just, I've talked about before, not going to get too deep into either of these again, but Altered Carbon, fantastic show to watch on Netflix. If you like the Blade Runner aesthetic but wanted something a bit darker, it's that. It has the aesthetic of Blade Runner for season 1, but has a little bit more of some of the rest of Philip K. Dick's library thrown in for what the story ends up becoming. And then season 2 kind of takes a left turn and goes in a similar but very different direction, and it's its own unique thing as well. And that has Anthony Mackie. So, Anthony Mackie.
Yep.
And just understand, this is absolutely not a family show. Like, do not let your kids watch it.
No.
Season 1, it has a lot of the same graphic content that Game of Thrones had. A lot more in season 1 than season 2, but yeah, don't let your kids watch it. But otherwise, the other biggie is The Magicians. If you didn't already see it when it was on Sci-Fi, seasons 1 through 4 is on Netflix, and season 5 you can buy on Amazon. I've already gone through the entire series. I loved it. I think it's fantastic, and I would highly recommend it. Basically, just think adult Harry Potter. Like, very adult Harry Potter, and that's it.
Fair.
With a bit of adult Narnia. Just watch it, you'll get it.
Okay.
And then for the anime fans, real quick, you do have on Netflix Hunter x Hunter, Inuyasha, Seven Deadly Sins, Death Note, and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which are very worth your time. And if you are a Full Metal Alchemist original fan, I love it too. But honestly, I actually prefer Brotherhood, just because the story feels a little bit more, I don't know, cohesive for the second half.
Yeah.
The original kind of started to get tangled up in the second half, so.
Not so here, and then over here, and then kind of over here, and then kind of back up here, and kind of over there.
Yeah,
it's more like this.
But, yeah, so moving on, we have Hulu. Kyla, what do we got over at Hulu?
There's so many on Hulu. So many on Hulu. I know, personally, Letterkenny, I like American Horror Story. There's Buffy, if you want I say old classic. Oh, that makes me feel old.
But it's still great.
Buffy and Angel are both on there.
Yeah. By the way, just forewarning, if you've never seen any of Joss Whedon's shows before, for Buffy, push your way through season 1. Joss Whedon's series have a tendency to be a little bit difficult in their first season because they're trying to find their voice. If you can just get through season 1, even if you have to skip through it, just get through it. Season 2 on, it just keeps ramping up better and better. Just trust us.
Yes. Buffy and Angel both fantastic. And then I said Letterkenny is like Trailer Park Boys, but not on meth. Is that okay to say?
I mean, I've never seen Trailer Park Boys, so I'll take your word for it.
I think they're both really good. I think. Oh yeah, and we just talked about Smallville is on there, so that's your other little DC CW show that you can catch up with on Hulu. So.
Which I will forever love that show. I know it is cheesy as hell, and I know that you get to around season 6 and 7, and it just kind of goes off the rails a bit, but I love it, and I will rewatch that thing every chance I get.
I've been wanting to, because I was I mean, I say I was younger. We were younger-ish when it first came out, but it was my grandfather's favorite show. Like, my grandfather, super huge, like the biggest Superman fan I think I have ever seen, was obsessed with Smallville.
Nice.
So I kind of wanted to rewatch it just to kind of like relive some nostalgia with him. So I mean, not a bad reason to go back and watch it either.
Nice. Yeah. Then of course you got South
And I
Park.
think you said that. Oh, South Park, yep.
So always necessary, especially now.
Yes. Some of that political humor kind of helps you get through everything else that's going on in the world right now.
Yeah. If ever there was a time that we really needed South Park. Anyway.
That'll be it. And then I think you said also on Hulu, Sarah really liked Handmaid's Tale, right?
Yes. So I've heard a lot of great things about Handmaid's Tale. I know that I keep being told I need to watch it. I have so many other things I keep trying to get around to. I haven't had time, but I have heard, and my wife loves it. So yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, it's on the list of things to watch, which is a Hulu exclusive.
Yes.
So I mean, why not pick it up?
Yeah. And then of course for the anime selections over on Hulu, you do seem to have a preference over there.
I do. If you liked Hunter x Hunter, from the same maker is Yu Yu Hakusho, Spirit Detective. The entirety of the series is on there. And then My Hero is actually also on Hulu, but not the dub for season 4, just the sub for now. So.
Yep. And then for anybody that is interested, if you want the specialty channels like HBO, Showtime, Starz, Cinemax, any of that stuff and their original content added to Hulu, that is an additional fee. But if you want to be able to get Hulu and don't already have it, but have Disney Plus, or vice versa, you can get Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus for $12.99 a month with ads, or $18.99 a month without ads, versus the normal price for the without ads price for all three, which would be about $24. So you will be getting to save quite a bit there.
So definitely would recommend it, especially if you want to binge with no commercials. So.
Yeah. And then jumping over to the other behemoth in the streaming realm, Amazon Prime, or as they keep trying to push their rebranded version of it, Prime Video.
Yes,
Same
Prime
thing.
Video.
So movies, they have Marvel Phase 1 on there as part of their free offerings. So if you haven't started any of that or want to go back and watch any of it, it's there. So
so there's that. Definitely recommend it, even if you need to pick it back up on Disney Plus when you want to go through phase 2 and 3.
Yeah,
so.
which is fine. Good Omens. Haven't seen it, but I keep being told it's fantastic, and it has David Tennant and Michael Sheen, and I mean, I love both of them, so I'm never going to say no to anything either of them are in, so I'm good with that. And then Jack Ryan. Watch season 1, need to watch season 2 desperately. Fantastic, and just for added bonus, stars John Krasinski, so, you know.
John Krasinski.
Yeah, and
Jim from The Office.
I am all for John Krasinski. I actually am not a fan of The Office. It wasn't my sense of humor, but everything he's done since then, I have loved him in it, and I will.
Yes.
I'll watch him any chance I get. I really enjoy his acting. Plus,
even
he's
in
a pretty man.
Yes, he is. Oh my gosh. Also, he's also in Quiet Place, which I believe last I checked was also on Amazon Prime. So if you need more John Krasinski in your life, not a bad option there.
And that one has him and Emily Blunt, and
yes,
fantastic. His directorial debut, and he needs to do more. Just please,
Quiet Place 2 is
let
coming
him
out.
direct more.
When's Quiet Place 2 coming out? Later this year?
Was supposed to. but it has been delayed, and they haven't actually said exactly when, I don't think, but we'll stay updated on that.
Yep. Also on Amazon, I know you and I think we've discussed this a couple of times too, is like the entirety of Star Trek.
Yes.
All of it.
All of it. Yes, it is also all over on Netflix too, so if you have either one, go watch it. But seriously, Star Trek. I'm always going to recommend Deep Space Nine because that was my favorite of the series. I love every bit of it. Although Commander, Captain, depending on what part of the season you're in, the series you're in, Cisco is just get. And see, give me more.
I'm on the other end where I'm a big fan of The Next Generation. Would be my recommendation. Fair. But I mean, you can't say no to Captain Picard. Like.
Okay, so
hello?
To be fair, there are only a handful of people whose voice I could listen to all day long, and Sir Patrick Stewart is absolutely one of them. And I'm always okay with him. Like, it's honestly him and Morgan Freeman are the two immediate ones that I'll listen to anything they say, do, whatever. Like, if they could narrate every book I listen to moving forward, I'd be cool with that.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. That, or like any documentary that they would do, I would listen to it. Oh, is it about how flowers are like mutating and kind of like get duplicates? Oh sure, let's watch it for 3.5 hours if it's voiced by one.
And the other guy, Neil deGrasse Tyson. I love the way that he talks. Like, he is just so interesting to listen to, even if he's not talking about science. He has so much enthusiasm in his voice in such a nerdy way. It's amazing.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, Heather, you do have a point. Psych is on Amazon Prime, and yes, so I love that show. I rewatch it all the time. It's great.
Because I will say, I know that you know that I'm not telling the truth here. Such a good show. Like, you can't, like, crazy antics, trying to find a pineapple every episode, like, that whole shtick with the pineapple is just a phenomenon, honestly. Like,
I mean, especially if you go back and watch any of the interviews where they talk about where the heck the pineapple came from, it doesn't actually have a point. Like, it was just some random dumb thing that they just kind of did by accident. It kept on going, and they figured, you know what? This is funny. Why not keep doing it? And then the fan base just latched onto it.
Yes, like, there were times I was watching an episode and I was like, wait, I missed the pineapple. And, like, had to, like, go back and rewatch it, and it was, like, in a painting in the art museum. Or, like, it was the pin on the girl's shirt. Yeah. Like...
And, oh my gosh, was it, Dule, Hill, Gus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yes.
Is that his last name?
Dooley?
Dule Hill. Yeah, guy that played Gus, was also Charlie on The West Wing. He's awesome. Yes. And honestly, the chemistry that he has with James Roday? Yes. James Roday.
I'm terrible with names, but yes.
It is, that is just so much fun that, like, even if you don't care about the story, even if you don't care about anybody else on the show, the chemistry the two of them have together and just that buddy thing going back and forth is worth every second watching it. Like, it's just
and as the series progresses, hearing, like, the more outrageous, like, nicknames and, like, pseudonames that he gives him, and how it progresses, like, even to such an extreme. It's like, there's no way they can make a more ridiculous name. Oh, but they can.
It's amazing. And then, of course, if you want something a bit more serious, The Man in the High Castle. Fantastic sci-fi, historical fiction crossover. Just amazing stuff. For a bit more on the darker superhero route, The Boys. Once again, a show you absolutely shouldn't let your kids watch, but is fantastic. Just be aware, if you are not a fan of the ultra bloody and violent, maybe not for you, but it's still amazing.
It's not as bad as like Spartacus, but it's
yeah, that's
there.
A fair comparison, honestly. Yeah. Like, if you've seen Spartacus and you were okay with that level of gore, then this is not even going to faze you. But yeah, it goes dark. It's amazing, though. And then, of course, for a little extra humor, and especially if you were a fan of Gilmore Girls, but same creators responsible for that gave us the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is on season 3 now and is just amazing. Basically, historical fiction around a female comedian coming up in the I believe it was 60s, and is just, I mean, the jokes are hilarious, and I mean, you get just anybody you could think of that, like, okay, who would you want in a 1960s New York about a Jewish family that the daughter's trying to get into stand-up comedy, and without her ex-husband finding out. The first names you come up with, probably exactly who's in there. Like, it's amazing. It's wonderful. I love it. So yeah, just perfect.
Definitely on my list of things to watch.
Yeah. And then, real fast, one of the big anime offerings on Amazon Prime, although they do actually have a few, RWBY, volumes 1 through 6.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Once again, something I've not seen, but I know has a massive fan base, and I'm all for supporting Rooster Teeth, since they were the studio that is responsible for making it, and just go check it out. I've heard it's great. It's actually on my list for one of the next animes to watch, so yeah. Yeah,
that pretty much covers it. RWBY's pretty good. I need to catch up, because I think I got through like volume 2, and then I started getting behind, so yeah. Definitely would recommend it.
Yeah, and then of course, because we are definitely getting a little long in the tooth on time right now, let's jump into the games. So Kyla, this is your realm.
This is my realm. So with games, a couple of these are like series that you can go back and play. If you haven't played them before, I'd recommend BioShock has 3 games, Borderlands has 4 games, Witcher 1, 2, and 3 if you need some extra content.
3 has 2 DLCs, which are in their own right additional games, just based on the time it adds, so be aware.
Yep. Just those 3 are sure available all on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, if I'm correct. And then BioShock and Borderlands are going to get 2 of the games are coming out in May for the Switch, so if you're one of those handheld gamers like I am. Speaking of the Switch, if you need something to do daily chores, Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley would be your games. But Stardew Valley is also on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and your phone, oddly enough. So if you're a casual gamer and just want to pick up your phone and do it.
Oh, those filthy casuals.
Filthy casuals. Shame on you. But definitely, Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, super casual games that I have put easily, combined total across both of those, 500 hours?
Yeah.
So, if you're more into shooters, but something on the free side to keep you busy, Battle Royales are really big, especially since you can get a different game every time. You have Call of Duty Warzone is out right now with 150 people each game, Apex with 60 people each game, Fortnite with 100 people each game, so you really never know what sort of level of competition you're going to be playing against. So.
Nice. And then of course, Kingdom Hearts.
Yes.
Kingdom Hearts.
Yes. Kingdom Hearts is across PlayStation and Xbox now, since I decided to reach out to those who had gone green, if you will. Other bingeable games that just have tons of hours of gameplay would be anything Elder Scrolls. I don't care what the title is, just anything Elder Scrolls.
Yep, which doesn't include Skyrim,
Anything...
just so you know. That is the same series.
Anything like Fallout, even Fallout 76 has some updates going on, which is the online game that you can play, that you can sink hours into. World of Warcraft, if you want something classic on PC, currently has like double XP and, oh gosh, what is it called? Double XP and Reputation going on until the expansion drops in August.
Yep, and don't forget, there's also WoW Classic that is out. If you do want the original version, that they did re-release that, so.
And what he's missing is if you hate yourself and want to go back and play WoW Classic, like, and then if you want something more on like the turn-based side, Persona 5, the gameplay itself has like at least 30 or I think it was like 35 hours of gameplay, but there's so many other things that you can do on the side to expand on that, because I know a lot of my friends have put like 80 to 100 hours into the game, so.
Fair.
Yeah.
And then of course, for the Bookworms, as promised, there are a ton of books to be able to go and get caught up on, although my immediate recommendation is always going to be any of the new Star Wars books, just to be able to get caught up on what the current canon is. Although if you had to take a pick for where to start, my recommendation is actually the new Thrawn trilogy. The first one is fantastic. Like, it really does feel like the Thrawn book that old school Thrawn fans wanted and got. And then the second and third ones are okay, not quite as, they don't quite have that certain something there with the book, but they are still fun stories, and still the same fun version of Thrawn that you get familiar with and fall for in the first book. So it's still worthwhile to get through. And of course, for all those in particular, if you have an Audible subscription, they're all on Audible, and if you do not have an Audible subscription, I'd recommend getting one, because it is pretty cheap per month. I think it's like $9 a month, I want to say, although I will double check that, and you get a free, or one additional credit to get a book per month. So if it takes you a minute to be able to get through even an audiobook because of time, those can start to add up, and then you have plenty to be able to go and splurge all at once when you go, okay, I just want to go ahead and try to get like half my wish list purchased. And then they actually offer, for about the same price as a monthly subscription, 3 additional credits that you can purchase once you have that membership, which is great. I've actually used that several times just to be able to keep adding to my collection, and it's been great.
There you go. Yeah, Star Wars has hundreds of books. There's other series too that we were going to recommend, like I suggested Harry Potter, the Maze Runner series, the Divergent series, Hunger Games, like anything that's young adult sci-fi dystopian for half of those.
15 a month. Sorry, Audible is $14.95 a month, but still pretty good for what you end up getting. Plus, they do give you 2 free Audible. Yeah, 2 free Audible originals per month. So it's from a limited selection, but every now and then you do come across a month that has a lot of really good stuff, and then you just go for it. Including, by the way, live special productions with like Stanley Tucci, or Nick Offerman, or Amy Poehler, or, I mean, just Kenneth Branagh had a couple things in there, and it's just, it is great.
Got you. One book I might not necessarily recommend listening to just how long it is would be anything from the classic George R.R. Martin Song of Ice and Fire, which is just the Game of Thrones series if you don't realize that that's what the actual series is, well, book series is called. Very long and lengthy and should definitely keep you busy for a good hot minute, since each one of those books is like a good chunk if you have it in physical form.
Yeah. But hey, still worth it if you got the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yes.
Yep.
So fantastic. So good. It's 5 books long and like 3 short stories if I remember correctly. Yeah. And it is hilariously funny. I was going to point out, forgot to mention this to you, Brad, as a lot of these things you can also get through Kindle. And Kindle actually has this feature that if you're getting into a series, they'll either give you, you can get a free sample of the book, so you can get an idea of kind of like how you like the writing style or not. And a lot of the times from when I was looking at some of the bigger series, the first book in the series will be free for you to download to see if you even like it before you just buy it and then jump into it. And you're like, not really quite my thing.
Nice.
So if you have a Kindle reader, would definitely recommend looking into that to kind of get you caught up.
Nice.
You can also do Kindle on your phone.
Very nice. Oh, Cody, we got over in the comments on Facebook. Yeah, Star Wars, the Battlefront books. Battlefront 2 was actually very well done. Even though the game was a thing that exists, the books were actually really good. I liked them both. And the thing is, with Battlefront, the first book, it actually goes in and shows the soldiers on the Rebel Alliance's side, their perspective, and the second one is the Empire's side. Different stories, different parts of the timeline, but it's still very interesting to be able to get the differing perspectives between the books and what the soldiers actually thought of what they were doing. And when you're talking like the elite of the elite, so you're getting the hardcore believers of the cause. So it's really interesting. Yeah.
I think that kind of... Oh, one last book recommendation. We talked about My Hero earlier.
Yes.
There is I will have to get the website linked to you, Brad, because I forgot to write it down.
Yeah.
But the My Hero manga is actually available online through digital readers and whatnot, and it has 268 chapters out right now.
Nice.
Which would get you put way ahead of where the current series currently is. But would definitely also recommend if you want to get into more of like if you're an anime person but want to get into like the reading portion of it. So
nice. All right. Well, because we've gone severely longer than we originally intended, we're gonna we're gonna go ahead and cut it there. But just know that there is a lot out there to be able to enjoy. A lot of stuff that if you haven't gotten around to it, we highly recommend going back and checking it out. And if you already have access to some of the different streaming services, take advantage of it now. And for the games, I'd say go check out Steam, because a lot of the games that we've been talking about have some kind of discount going on right now just to be able to get people playing.
Yes.
So highly recommend taking advantage of that.
Yes.
But with that, once again, if you have made it this long, thank you so much. We absolutely appreciate it. Once again, do not forget, if you have not already, like the video, follow us over on Facebook, and if you're watching us on YouTube, do not forget to like the video and subscribe. And until next time, this is Brad and Kyla with Dallas Geek saying, see ya.